With Prime Video having announced the Season 2 Part 2 release date, I want to discuss a major change we can expect. So, before I go ahead, if you're someone that's not read the comics at all, and doesn't want any spoilers, just skip this whole video. With that warning out of the way, let's talk about one of the most controversial characters in the Invincible universe, Anissa. To give a bit of backstory, Anissa, much like Nolan, is a full-blooded Viltrumite from the planet Viltrum. She would also be one of the many warriors that would see Thrag's rise to Grant region of the Viltrum Empire. Anissa's first appearance in the comics is in Invincible number 44. Damn, even the cover tells you she's not someone to be messed with. Anyways, we first get to see her when she interrupts Mark and his mother Debbie during the middle of lunch, threatening to kill Mark's mother in order to get Mark to chase her into the sky. Her intention in all of this is to try to get Mark's support in the Viltrumite takeover of Earth, saying how the Viltrumites would transform Earth into a utopia for centuries by curing disease and ending war and death. When Mark asks her what happened to Viltrum in the aftermath, Anissa reveals of its eventual destruction. The conversation doesn't last long though, as a monster then attacks a cruise ship, and with Mark being the hero that he is, he goes there to save the day. Anissa, hoping that her assistants will convince Mark that they're on the same side, offers to help. After slaying the monster and saving the passengers, Anissa, expecting to have won Mark over, asks again if he will join the Viltrum effort, only to be slapped by Mark's refusal. This of course angers her, and she reminds Mark that he has no choice in the matter, and that he had no idea of how much danger he was in. It's fast forwarding, there's a whole Viltrumite war that happens, not a big deal or anything, but long story short, it ends up with the Viltrumites hiding amongst the humans on Earth in order to repopulate. Yeah, keep the word repopulate in your mind because that's going to be the big thing here. Post the Viltrumite War, and this is a major spoiler, so you have been warned, it's discovered that Nolan is actually the heir to the Viltrum throne, as he is the son of Argol. This ultimately results in General Thrag, also known as Freddie Mercury, to get overthrown, and Nolan being hailed as the Emperor of the Viltrumites. This is where Anissa shifts to taking Nolan and Mark's side in the whole story. Oh, and during one arm wrestling match between Mark and Nolan, unbeknownst to them, Anissa watches the whole thing and gives Mark a kiss before flying off and hoping to see him again. Before talking any further, I'm going to talk about a sensitive issue, so this is just to let you all know beforehand. During Robot's takeover of the whole world, we see Anissa meet Mark again after 6 months. She then tells Mark about the Viltrumite mission to procreate with humans, but that she refuses to mate with a human. She then says how she's planned to settle on mating with him due to his Viltrumite heritage. Mark refuses her and flies off, saying that he's with Eve. Anissa then attacks him to stop him from getting away, before forcing her way with him. It's a truly horrific scene, as we see Mark crying before Anissa tells him to man up, and suggesting that they might have to go again later. To add salt to the wound, in the future, we do get to see more of Anissa, and there's even an interaction where she gets the opportunity to whisper in Mark's ear of how much she misses him, much to Mark's disgust. And to complicate things further, Anissa does end up getting pregnant from that first incident, resulting in Mark having a son in Marky. With that context, I think you can understand why Amazon might not be down with the whole character of Anissa. I mean, the few panels in the comics were dark enough, so picture a whole animated scene. So what do I think could happen to Anissa? Well, I think there's 3 likely scenarios. First, and I think the easiest one, is to keep Anissa in the show, but either omit the graphic scene entirely, or have it so that Anissa is either already pregnant, or that she instead targets someone else other than Mark. The reason I think this is the easiest option is because if you do a quick search anywhere for the most hated character in Invincible, you'll see her face plastered everywhere, and then Anissa's. In all seriousness, I think the showrunners know that the core fandom will anticipate Anissa's arrival because of her impact in the comics. By mitigating the scene or by having an alternate explanation for her pregnancy, I think it would be a perfect line for Amazon where they'd be able to fulfill the demands of the fanbase whilst also not going into territory which may be too dark for the show. My second theory is that they might not change a thing. It's entirely plausible that because of the shock factor of Anissa, the showrunners may deem that it's necessary to keep the whole story, as it covers an important and under-discussed topic of male abuse victims. It's a type of darkness that the show hasn't explored thus far, as most of the horror has been from guts spilling out or heads being chopped off. I suppose when you have movies like Human Centipede on your platform, maybe this scene isn't that bad. Who am I kidding? Either ways, I wouldn't be surprised if no changes were made. The final and least likely thing I believe that could happen is Anissa could be completely removed from the show. Whilst I say it's unlikely, does it mean it's impossible? No. I could see Amazon choosing this route as an easy way out to avoid dealing with the whole situation entirely. I imagine they could have another character in place of her who doesn't need to repopulate with Mark. But the problem with this would be removing Anissa would have a chain effect for the rest of the show. They'd have to do something about Marky, for instance. I think the risk Amazon would run into is the alienation of comic readers with the show, which is why I do think it probably isn't going to happen. Anyways, that's just my 2 cents on the matter. Let me know what you guys think should happen in the show in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.